will draft the recommendation to the Secretary, Madam Chair.
At inaasahan po namin na mapirmahan ito ni Sec. Remulla. So at least DOJ, kami sa Senado, iba pa man, kumbaga sense of the institution yung itong mga importanteng dokumento natin, exerting whatever moral suasion sa ating mga colleagues and of course dun sa subject person. Pero paano pala ang ILBO kung sakaling private jet ang subukang gamitin?
Madam Chair, if I may defer to our colleague from BI kung paano po yung proseso nila when they process individuals that go through the private jets.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Attorney Quintana. I'm sorry about that. Yes, more properly, Attorney Santos, please. Paano po yung pag private jet ang subukang gamitin? Paano yung ILBO?
Dumadaan pa rin po sa proseso nung pag-check sa aming computer records kung meron yung ILBO or other mga list kagaya ng whole departure orders. Dinadaan pa rin yun sa system namin for checking.
So just to restate my earlier question, even if mula nung July 2023 na huling record nyo na lumipad si Quiboloy, pabalik naman dito sa Pilipinas, even if since then lumipad sila using private jet or kung subukan nilang lumipad these days using private jet, nakasisiguro kayong dadaan pa rin sa sistema nyo?
Opo, sinecheck po yan. Yung mga pasahero po ng mga private flight ay binibigay sa amin din reasonable time in advance para i-check din po yan.
What's that reasonable time in advance? Ganong katagal?
Hindi ho ako ganun ka-familiar. Usually, depende ho kasi sa nag-handle ng flight. Pero mga ho yan, siguro 1 or 2 days before.
1 or 2 days. So sufficient time na hopefully magkaroon ng epekto yung Senate subpoena or yung ILBO na somehow makumbinse or through moral suasion makompel yung subject person to stay and to face a hearing.
Tama po.
Salamat, Attorney Santos. Ngayon ilang tanong po para sa DSWD kay Yusek Dimapora muli, ma'am. May specific penalties po ba sa mga individuals na pinipigilan ang mga bata o mga menor de edad na makapag-aral?
Madam Chair, I'll give you more information, but to the best of my knowledge, we can respond to the abuse, but the act of abuse is outside of our purview. However, the needs of the abused, we will of course provide kung ano po yung needs niya. But they have to come to us, ma'am. Yun po yung kung may caveat po ang DOJ, yun po ang caveat po namin. They have to come to us. And I just checked sa FO11 in our administrative office in the region. Wala po nag-come forward, which is why we forwarded this information, including the links that you have here in documentation in the Senate of the witnesses that have come forward to our offices. But obviously, alias po sila. But in terms of getting prepared for kung sino ang magka-come forward. So maybe we can perhaps encourage those who would like to come forward to do so.
Salamat para doon, Yusek Dimaporo. I'm sure well noted ng ating mga legal counsel and of course children's rights advocates na sumusubaybay din sa hearing na ito. I remember in the first hearing, a previous hearing, meron kaming isa pang witness, si Elias Amanda, na mamaya may tanong din po ako sa Jose Maria College mamaya. Naghabol po ng kanyang transcript of records. Sila po nung sister niya, na tulad ni na Elias Rene at Elias David ay pinangako ang makapag-aaral. Pero kalaunan, nung umalis sila, hindi nila makuha yung TOR. So without those grades, hindi sila makapag-apply for further studies, hindi kompletong dokumento nila para makapag-apply ng maayos na trabaho. So, but I'll return to that later, Yusek. I'd just like to ask the same question sa CWC, no, kay Yusek Tapales. May penalties po ba kapag sa mga tao na nagpigil sa mga menor de edad o sa mga bata na makapag-aral?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Magandang isang makabatang umaga po sa ating lahat. Like the DSWD, we would yield the determination of the specific offense to the DOJ and the proper agencies. But just for academic discussion po, there are certain provisions under existing laws which may perhaps cover, depending of course on the evidence and circumstances po. Under Section 3 of Republic Act 7610 po, in the definition of child abuse po kasi, Section 3B po yan, yung maltreatment po, it includes psychological, physical abuse, neglect, cruelty, sexual abuse, and emotional maltreatment. So if it will amount to some form of neglect because the act or omission of a particular person endangers or hampers the normal development of a child, perhaps it can be classified as child abuse. And of course, the caveat again, Madam Chair, is depending on the evidence and the circumstances. As for the other discussions po, Madam Chair, siguro I'll take this occasion to comment na rin po dun sa ginabanggit po natin kanina, yung begging. Kanina,
Yes,
there
please.
was a extensive discussion about begging. Under Republic Act 7610 po kasi, there is also a provision under Section 10E, which penalizes a person who shall use, coerce, force, intimidate a street child or any other child to beg or use begging as a means of living. So perhaps this is something our law enforcers and perhaps the DOJ also can check. And we agree with the DOJ in the statement that one of the acts of trafficking in persons prohibited under the expanded Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act of 2022 is the recruitment, transportation, maintenance of a person for domestic or overseas employment or forced labor. So it's one of the prohibited acts. Yun nga po, to recruit, maintain, hire a person for purposes of forced labor, slavery, involuntary servitude, including hatching a scheme, plan, or a pattern to cause that person to believe that if he or she does not perform such labor or service, he or she or another person would suffer serious or harm or physical treatment. So whether this is threatened or actually done, it's under our expanded ATIP law 2022 already, and even the abuse or threatened use of law or legal processes, it's also included there, Madam Chair. So perhaps these provisions are something which our law enforcement agency and the DOJ can very well check and double check. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much also, Yusek Tapales, dun sa, hindi lang pagsagot nyo dun sa specific question, pero yung pagdagdag nyo ng impormasyon, subject of course to the legal opinion of DOJ tungkol sa maltreatment and begging. Naalala ko po nung unang pagdinig, sinabi po ni Minority Leader Coco Pimentel, ni-raise po niya yung isyong iyon. Sino ang dapat mag-regulate against begging? National government lang ba? Pati ba local governments? Ang hirap daw ng turuan. Dapat meron talagang pangunahin or solong or pangunahing responsibilidad para mag-crack down on talaga itong mga offenses against children or offenses against persons in general. And mahalaga din po yung input nyo on trafficking in persons dahil habang pinaalalahanan nyo kami dyan, ini-inform nyo kami dyan, naalala ko na may ongoing investigation kay Kibuloy kahit sa United States, specifically on human trafficking. And it sounds like maybe may mga similarities sa ating relevant laws na posibleng sa committee report namin sa komite ma-cite in this inquiry. And baka may similar elements dun sa ginagamit nila sa human trafficking investigation din sa US. So maraming salamat para dito, Yusek Tapales. Matanong ko ang DILG ulit, si Asek Benitez. Sir, kanina dun sa testimony ng ating mga victim survivors, lumabas na mukhang barangay captain si Crescente Canada. may penalties po ba kapag itong si Canada ay nananakit o nagbabanta ng pananakit sa mga victim survivors?
Well, magandang umaga po, Madam Chair, Senator Robin Padilla. Well, basically, as far as responsibility or penalties are concerned, no, there is. No? Definitely, there is. Because the proper benchmark for all government officials is for us to gravitate towards behaving under Republic Act 6713. And under that particular law, we should always act with justness and sincerity. Now, we should always uphold public interest over and above everything. And this will boil down and cascade to a benchmark of behavior for all public officials, now national and local as well, now to behave in accordance with that dictum. So ang isang nananakit po na barangay captain definitively ay karapat-dapat lang pong tumanggap ng kaukulang kaparusahan. Of course, now this will be contingent on the proper application of the rules and subject to that time-honored principle of allowing him to be entitled to the principle or to the application of due process of law. Now, if I may be allowed to respond to the earlier question on what could
Yes,
be the proper penalties that may be imposed on those who coerce any person, particularly the minor, now in doing something which is against the law. Now, definitively, meron po, no, Madam Chair. Now, inarguably, we always start or proceed from the very fundamental injunction of the Constitution. Ang sabi po rito, no involuntary servitude in any form shall be allowed. So, observing this basic principle or tenet of the fundamental law, may mga batas po tayo, no, that penalize or penalizes violation to this effect. Katulad po ng revised penal code, pag ikaw po ay minor de edad o hindi minor de edad at pinilit kang gumawa ng isang bagay na labag sa kagustuhan mo, now definitively this is a crime now amounting to coercion. Depending po sa gravity ng violation, ito po ay coercion in general. And then if we will be more specific on the particular violation or penalty, then we have 7610. Ito po yung batas na vis-a-vis our minors. At malinaw po sa Section 10 ng batas na ito, exploitation, abuse, cruelty, neglect, and any other act that will lead to the prejudicial condition of the minors. Now, these are all actionable, Madam Chair. And accordingly, there is a corresponding amount of penalties or sanctions that the law will basically provide for every person who might be minded to violate these rules. Yun po, Madam Chair, and for the record, nagpapasalamat po ang DILG.
Maraming salamat din po sa department at kay ASEC Benitez. Lalo na po para sa paalala sa ating lahat nung ang ganda pong pagka-formulate yung benchmark of behavior na nakabaon talaga sa loob ng konstitusyon at sa iba't ibang mga batas natin kung paano dapat ituring ng Estado at paano dapat ituring nating lahat na nagtatrabaho sa gobyerno ang bawat mamamayan, anuman ang sektor niya, anuman ang rehiyon niya, dahil meron siyang dignidad at meron siyang karapatan bilang tao at saka bilang mamamayan. So, katulad nung input ni Yusek Tapales kanina, bagamat maya't-maya tinitingnan namin mga mababatas, saan ba yung gap sa ating mga batas, pero marami din po tayong mga batas na maaring gamitin para makuha ang hustisya ng victim survivors at maitaguyod yung kagalingan nila. And Asek Benitez, ang Philippine National Police po ba, ang DILG po ba sa pamamagitan ng PNP, pwede po bang baliktad, ang PNP po ba sa pamamagitan ng department ninyo, pwede po ba silang ma-call upon ang ating kapulisan? Ito ay, okay, balik po sa tinatanong ko kanina kaugnay nung pagsabina kay Pastor Kibuloy. Ang PNP po ba sa pamamagitan ng DILG ay pwedeng i-call upon ng komiteng ito para tumulong i-serve yung subpoena as usual practice?
Tama po yan, Madam Chair. Now, in fact, mandato po yan ng ating kapulisan now to implement the rule of law and see to it that our requirement or directive on justice be properly implemented. So, pwede pong tawagin ng ating pong Senado, ng ating komite, ang ating pong PNP para po mag-assist o tumulong sa pag-i-implement po o pagpapas